now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton, music, moments, and everything in between. I'm Stick Braxton.
And I am Mike D. Jackson.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. The usual. How you feeling, man?
I had a dentist appointment today, one that I've been putting off at least since putting off is the wrong word. I've had to reschedule it multiple times just because of how my schedule works, and I finally got in there today. Um, there's no real, there's no real way to like talk about dentist appointments and what happened to you without having to say pause. So I'm just saying pause from the jump. My mouth hurts, bro. Like it's wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I hate it's just it was a regular cleaning too. It's just like the picking and shit and all that jazz. I hate that, but yeah, it's over now. But they do want me to get my upper wisdom teeth out because they said they're wilding right now.
Gotcha. Understand. It's crazy you say that because actually next week I have a dentist appointment and I just got a reminder because in my head I was like going through my phone. I'm like, well, they always text me anyway. Like my place I go to, they email, text, they might call you. That you can't not remember. They will
Yeah.
remind. Like I'll get a text probably the day before also and an email about it, just remind you. So if you mess up, it's like, nah, bro, we told you. Ain't no way you can say, oh, well, I didn't. Nah, bro. Nah. So I have like I think a cleaning as well, something nothing crazy, whatever.
Mm.
So I know how that is. And also I talked to you before the last couple months where I've been having to go back in there and it's like, man, just is reckless. But it's cool. It is what it is. Gotta take care of your teeth, man. I think some people they don't realize how bad their teeth are in or how bad their breath is, because that comes with it too. People
Hmm.
not understanding, like, oh man, you like people don't understand. More people have gingivitis and all that type of stuff a lot more than they think. Like, they think,
Yeah.
oh man, it's like, nah, like if you're not really brushing and flossing and all that, you might have a bit of it,
Yeah.
maybe not as bad as other people, but you might have some.
Yeah. It's important to do it, man. I know flossing can be like a tedious task, but it's important, man. It's definitely important or whatever. But go if you got the means to go to the dentist, bro. It's fine. Um, we have a new episode today, man. A tape that recently got brought up. Actually, elements of the tape got brought up, and this was probably the perfect time to bring this one up. It's an interesting pick, man. We're doing My Heart today.
Yes, sir. My heart, which, well, we got it, I want to say May 30th of 2014, so that 2014 era, but this is once again, I didn't really think about this, but this is once again a shelved album. I think it's fair to say that this was an album. This was from 2010. This was when Charles had his new situation after Interscope. I brought that interview up a couple of times when Charles said, "Don't get a new deal, get a new situation." But this was a shelved album that was supposed to come out at around 2010-ish. I don't know when that date was. I don't know if they ever specified that.
Mhm.
We just know that it was like around 2010 when it was recorded. Probably was going to come out later that year, and unfortunately it didn't. I got a little backstory on it. Shout out to the Ill Will interview. I saw Charles talk about it on there. Feel free to like look that up on YouTube. Charles talks about My Heart, just him coming back into the game, because this interview is from like 10 years ago when
Mhm.
Charles was signed to Republic, and they asked him about the My Heart album and all that. Excuse me. Basically, Charles was on Nuco, that independent situation, and he recorded a bunch of songs from My Heart. And the crazy thing is, he never got to hear any of them. He just recorded them, did whatever he had to do, and he never got a copy for himself or got to like hear them back in the way he wanted to. And basically, there were some disagreements about like how the music was going. Like it sounded too pop, it sounded too commercial and whatnot.
Mhm.
Charles wasn't really a fan of that. The label heads wanted him to, go into that direction. Charles really wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
And basically, I guess because of too many complications, and then I guess they realized, man, you know what? Let's just drop this here. We're not going to go further with this. Charles does say in that interview, he mentions Matt Mickelson, who was part of Nuco. He says shout out to him. It wasn't personal, but he wanted to prove to everyone that like the music he was making underground was the stuff that was working as well. Like he didn't want to pivot so far off of like I guess his base or like the stuff that he liked to do,
Mhm.
which is a very reoccurring theme now that hindsight's 2020, you know, but that's a little bit of a story for my heart. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the today's like theme and like question, overall question I think we're gonna have is Charles, Charles and his way of thinking. And is this an example of it being correct and like actually being like no doubts about it? Like there's no doubts that the way that a situation wanted him to go and what he wanted, was it the right decision to be like, this wasn't what needed to be done? Or is this a tape where with some tweaks it could have been what it could have been, right? Do you remember your first time listening to this tape?
Yeah, when we finally got it around like 2014, I remember listening to it. And by the way, I think me and you can both attest to this because we heard that name, that phrase, My Heart album. Charles has a tape or an album called My Heart,
Mhm.
and then it never came out. To me, I think I got to a point where I'm like, maybe this doesn't really exist. Maybe he was working on something and he was going to call it that because that was going to be like technically his second debut
Right.
album, but you know, but it would have been his first if he was able to put it out. But then maybe that was like I was thinking maybe that was the first name they came up with, but then eventually they got to a point where it's like, you know what, screw it, scrap it, who cares? But when we finally did get it, you know, when it did get leaked, because I don't know who, Charles didn't know who either, but a Star Chaser, some Star Chaser had the tape and told Charles about it, and he said, "Well, I never heard the music either, so go ahead, leak it, drop it, so I can get a copy." Which is crazy. He heard it around the same time we did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my first time listening to it, I listened to it and I'm like, okay, it's cool. It's it definitely wasn't like one of my like top tier favorites or anything like that, but I seen where they were going with it, and I'm like, yeah, I could see, you know, why they wanted Charles to go in that direction, but I didn't think it was bad or anything like that. Like I didn't feel like, oh man, like Charles sold out or he did something that was not in his realm, I guess you could say. But I was just like, it's cool. How did you feel about it?
I It was a very different listen. It was a jarring listen because like again, it was something that it was different from like almost anything he had done previous. Not anything, but like if you take the bulk of what he did prior to hearing that tape and then you get this tape, it's like you really were trying something different here. So I didn't hate it, but it was definitely not what I was expecting. I'll say that. Um, Today's listen and review is going to be based of course, hindsight is 2020. Just kind of looking back and seeing like, was the music good, bad? Was it such a hard, different turn that I wasn't receptive to it at the time, and now with different ears, will it be different? I don't know, but yeah, this was. I just remember being like, this is different.
I think I'm kind of the same way too, where I'm going to have a different approach to it now, just because we've been, I was going to say 10 years, but it's actually 15 years removed. And it's like, well, how would it have turned out? Because I kind of think about that too. Like, hey, if this was to come out, it would have been independent. So it's not like it would have been like a major label type of deal.
Mhm.
So it probably still would have been like a digital download type of deal. But it's like, you know, if this would have came out, what would the future of Charles Hamilton music have been?
Yeah,
Would he have been forced to keep going in the same direction? Would it have been more friction, more turmoil? Like, what would have happened?
yeah, yeah. Um, 12 songs on this tape. A lot of which we've heard. A lot of which were loosies before we got this tape. Um, a lot of well respected, well regarded songs on this tape that we need to address. Like I don't feel like we would have addressed it otherwise based off of just a regular episode. So this is like the perfect time to be able to knock a lot of those out. Let's talk about the cover. The cover is it is something. How do you feel about this cover, man?
All right, so let's make sure we're talking about the same cover.
Sure.
I'm sure I know the one you're talking about, but I remember at the time when there was a cover originally, it was like that like kind of like whitish cover with like a blue outline of a heart. It was
Yep.
just like simple, like Charles Hamilton, My Heart. But I'm assuming you're talking about the other one that looks like a doll, like
Yes.
kind of like one. Okay. Um, very attention grabbing compared to the other one, where it's like that one's very simplistic to the point where I can see someone be like, well, I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. I'm not even gonna look at it. But with the other one, it's like, okay, it has some dark elements to it. If I didn't know who Charles Hampton was at all, I would have been like, oh, this might be like if I went to like Target at the time or like Best Buy or something like that. I would have been like, oh, it might be like some rock guy or something like that, whatever. That's some emo band or something. I don't know. But it definitely it grabs your attention because it's just all right. You see like a little doll on the side. It's black, it's dark, and then it's kind of like a seem like you're entering a dark room, and then you're seeing something from I don't know if I want to say a horror movie, but like something from like that type of realm where it's like, man, this is am I really ready to go into this, like listening to this? Because what is this going to be? It has me question the music versus what's on there. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I was trying to figure out like what am I looking at, right? Because like I said, it is dark, so it's like you're fighting against the darkness of the cover while also trying to make sense of what you're seeing. Like it looks like that the doll maybe like it's in like a window, like because you see there's like lines across, and it's like, all right, are you peeking through like bars or through a window? And that's the black lines across the doll's thing. Is the doll holding a heart? Because it's like really red in that center part, so I'm guessing that. My main major takeaway was I like, have I seen this doll before? And the Taffy uh album cover has like a very similar doll in there. So I'm like, same time frame, 2010. Is this Was this supposed to be the next formation or next alias type situation for Charles? Two different tapes, same different doll. Was it supposed to be some type of series? I know like the name attached to why he named it that, obviously, because it was for Interscope or whatever. Um, but I wonder if there's like some type of connection here and what was supposed to be the connection. But as a cover itself, it's interesting. Like I said, it's eye grabbing. If somebody's just like a collector, like, ooh, this looks like a cool cover, I'll grab this and then we'll see what's on there. So it's eye catching.
I could definitely see if they had like a big blown up poster for it. I could see like some teenager, some kid being like, "Oh, I like just how it looks, even if I don't know who the artist is," and just have it on their wall, and it would like fit with like someone that's like into rock, goth, that whole
Yeah.
genre, that whole scene. And also, there is another cover I saw, but like I don't see as many people talking about it. It reminded me of like a comic book cover where like I know someone like how like when you look at like a comic book and then like someone's talking and they have like the obviously the bubble of the talking or the narrator's like information
Yeah.
right there. And there's like this picture I remember seeing of Charles like from back in the day where like he has a hoodie on and I guess he was at like the arcade with what is it, Time Crisis, one of those gun games that you can have and he had
Uh-huh.
both guns and he's going like that, whatever. But they had it like uh cartoonalized, I guess, comic book esque. I
Yeah.
remember seeing that cover too, but I rarely see anyone talk about that one. So if anyone remembers that one, shout out to you.
Yeah. Like I said, 12 songs, so let's go ahead and get into it. We got to get through some, and we'll be able to skip through a few just because of how we talked about them. Uh, I thought we'd be able to do this one, but I forgot there was a difference. We're doing All Alone, but very specifically the My Heart version, which I believe is co-produced or like co-engineered with Woody, from earlier Charles Hamilton tracks. What do you think about this version of this song?
All right, that is very important that you say that this version because I'll be honest, I can't remember right now the tape that we reviewed before that had it on there, but there's a definite difference. And I'm going to say that I like this one better. The other one that we heard, or I guess the Lucy we heard originally, was like the unfinished version.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just crazy because that song got leaked way too early, and I feel like I won't say it ruined everything, but it ruined a lot of things that were going on. We talked about it before on that old series, the Behind the Lava Lamp series, where Corpy was telling Charles and everybody like, "Yo, your song got leaked," and then he didn't know how it got leaked or who leaked it, and
Yeah.
then he was sitting there in that room just depressed, like not saying anything for like a whole 10-minute video, just upset, bothered. But with this song though, very pop song, very popish
Hmm.
about depression and sadness. But I think you would never even know if you just never paid attention to the lyrics. Like if they would have just like played that in 2010 in that era, like you would just be like, "Oh man, this is a fun song. This is a good song." And then you get to sing along with it with the hook because the hook is
Hmm.
very catchy. It's a really good song. I think the the negative thing I can say about this song is that I know Charles probably would have got pigeonholed into the song or like with this genre. And then there's like no showcasing of like rap skills really. Cause like even for the verses, he's doing like a like he's rapping, but he's like doing a sing-songy version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still like the song. The singing is on here. That is on here is good for what he's doing. But I think that could be like the only negative where it's like if you wanted to hear like bars and him spitting, that's not what this is for at all. This is very pop commercial. But I like the song and I like this version a lot better than the other one we got that I guess leaked version or that original one we got. So I like it.
So when you say the other version, I just always assume you mean the This Perfect Life version. Uh, because that's the one that's the tape that I associated with more than so what's called. I think it's track 3 on there. Um, so the positives first. The song is still good. Like it doesn't change it. I like that they kind of add like a little bridge after every verse. That kind of combines the both. It combines elements from the TPL version on the first and second verse and does it on both of them. It has that extra little bridge at the end where he does a little bit more singing in there. Um, Definitely pop forward. Um, I like how you said that if they had played this version back then, you wouldn't have known it what it was. And that's where I have a slight difference. I think with this version, I would absolutely know exactly what they're talking about because the song is like too clean. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pristine, it's perfectly engineered, it's perfectly mixed, mastered, whatever how you want to put it. I everything sounds clear, and that's kind of why I prefer the other one. I love the other one more so just because of like kind of the chaotic. It's not even really chaotic, but it just feels more full or whatever. It has a still like gritty type of situation to it. I feel like that one more so where I wouldn't know what the song was about. Because even when we were talking about that previously all along, I was like, damn, when you really think about it, this song was sad as fuck. But we didn't do it because we were just what's called. But with this other one, it's because everything's so clear, I could hear it. And I'm like, oh yeah, this song is sad as fuck. So I will say this. If you wanted the rap portion of it, yes, this isn't like the best. That's probably the negative you can bring into it. But I will say this song starting this tape kind of sets you up for exactly what you're about to get. Super pop heavy forward records. So as an intro to this specific album, it works perfectly.
Definitely. Now, just to clear up some, I guess, confusion and whatnot, because you are right. It's always funny because I always see like everyone has their own opinion and thought process on like certain songs like that, where, hey, I don't like the sound being too clean. And then there's other people who's like, like if it sounds like this, I'm not even gonna listen to it, but that's just, that's just how it is sometimes. What I mean is this, like what someone being like, oh, they wouldn't know what it is. I'm talking about I'm be PC about it. I'm talking about the pop friendly consumer
Yeah.
that listens to music, but they don't listen to the words. Like they'll be like, this is my favorite song, and then they don't know the words at all. Like, how do you I listen to this all the time. This is my number one on my Spotify, my Apple Music. Then how do you not know the words? Eventually, subconsciously, you would know the words. I don't listen to the words. I just listen because I like bum 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 bum. They that's what they
Yeah.
listen to, and then they only catch the hook, and that's it. They don't want to learn. I don't understand fans like that or people like that at all. That's what I meant. Those people would never. They're like, oh my god, or they'll know the words, and then you have to actually sit them down and be like, what did he say about his wrists? Oh, that's what
Yeah.
he's talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I meant. You know what I mean? Of
I
course,
got you.
I do get what you mean about the clean and then, it being too clean and all that. But no, I meant like people just somehow just that type of stuff, like they don't listen to lyrics. They hear them, they don't listen to them, I guess.
Yeah. Um, we followed that up with second music, Last of the Mauritians. A classic Lucy for a lot of people.
We are not the same, I am Mauritian. You don't understand, I suggest you get to read it. About my people, Wikipedia. We the only people that be speaking through the speakers. Sonic Maurice Hedgehog, no sneakers. But I run it with all my blue features. I ain't depressed.
I can agree. For me, it was definitely one I've heard previously. I'll be honest, when the song first came out, I wasn't the biggest fan of it when I first heard it. I was just like, okay. Now listening to it, like a little bit more. I think it's just okay. It's
Mm,
creative. I think the sample's cool. I do like in the hook, I think it's the aquatic zone sample you start to hear that it's
yep.
like brought into there or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's cool because it's called Sega music and that he's doing the elements of Sonic, so you get to hear some Sonic the Hedgehog in there, you know. Also, since we're on the topic of Sonic, that doll that's on the cover, for some reason, I always think of like the Tails doll, that whole thing. So that's gives me the creeps sometimes. Anyway, back to the song. The hook is accurate. Charles talks about doing music all day, and he's always making songs, which
Yep.
is still to this day, that's all
Yep.
he does. Always making music, always making songs. Um, the verses are solid too. It's not like he's spitting anything like bad on here or anything like I'm just like, this is boring. Just overall, I think for me the song is just you know, I'm just not the biggest fan of it, but it's okay.
Yeah. When I think of this song, I kind of associate it with a few other songs, and I can't remember if they were all dropped in a similar time frame or it's just what I associate with. There was a song he had called Sega Police that I associate this song with, mainly because I remember changing the cover art for him to just Sonic something. And I also associated with Beta Future. Those three songs is what I associate together for some reason. And when I do, I always had Sega music at the bottom. Not because it's like a horrible song or anything like that. It's just, again, I'll say this. This was a little bit closer to like kind of what he does just with the Sonic stuff and like the beat element, whatever. But it still felt kind of, I'm, it felt like I'm searching for one, like as far as like a hit or whatever. Which looking back, it could probably have worked. I don't know. It still feels like a niche type of record where it's like it'll resonate with certain fans, but I don't know if it'll go to resonate to the casual audience. I think All Alone previously would have been more of that for that or whatever, right? The record's cool. I haven't changed that much on it over the years. Um, just based on some because not a lot of people commented on that certain playlist that we had. So I looked at some of the other comments on different uploads, and yeah, it's still a popular song. As recently as a year ago, um, somebody was like, "It took me a while to find the song. I'm glad I found it." Um, yeah, fucking slaps. Yes, sir. You know, so people still really like this song, man. I think it's one of those songs where if you talk to a Charles Hamilton fan enough, it'll eventually come up in conversation. So it's a cool song. It's nothing I'm high on, but it's cool.
I think I would say for this song, this might have been one of them songs that like Charles wanted to be able to do his own thing on and like be like, hey, like let me at least get like one or two songs where like it's more me versus
Yeah.
label wise. So I'm like, this might have been a song that Charles had to like fight for and be like, hey, let me do some more rapping or get some more of the element of Sonic and Charles Hamilton and do all that. And then they probably were like, all right, well, I guess we'll put that on there. So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm like, if even this was going to be independent, like I said, it would have to be like a digital download because in my head, I'm like, would they have let this go on to be on here? Because like you gotta clear certain samples and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. So who knows?
Speak no louder is next. We've
I
done
think
this before, right?
we have, but we might be looking at a different playlist. But okay, yeah, speaking of louder,
Which one do you have next? Is it Gauchos?
yeah.
All right. Then is it those two flipped?
Nah. Let's just talk about speaking of louder because it's gonna be quick anyway. So
That's fine. Yeah.
all right, speaking of louder, great song, but this ended up being on Atlanta Cine.
Mhm.
So it's a great mix of rap and rock and mainstream. I could easily see this having like a music video. Like if they were like, hey, we're trying to rebrand you. We don't want you, we want you to still rap, but let's start adding that rock element to you. So like we're attacking both MTV and BET, but mainly let's get more of that pop rock element in there.
Mm.
Um, this could have easily worked. I could have seen a video for this for like MTV, something like that. And at the same time, though, I could see once again Charles might be pigeonholed into the okay, this worked, this song was great, but now all your songs need to be like rock-esque, and you can rap on them, but
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do like some heavy hitting, just like rap only shit, you know. But this is a good mix of rock and rap.
Yeah, just to clear up what I did. I used the one from the Charles Hampton app, and it has Speak No Louder as third or whatever.
I got you.
Um, I've talked about the song. I was like, I know everybody likes the song. I'm just like I'm cool on it. It's fine. I know everybody like because like it does have that rap rock combination, and it's really done well. Um, I've never been hotter. I was like I've heard the rock rap thing from him, and I like other songs better, and that's the only thing I'm comparing it to. It's not a bad record. Again, very popular. If you look at some of the different uploads of the song, people really love this record. Like I think it's in a lot of people's top 10, top 20-ish, like when they think of Charles or whatever. So that gives a testament of how they feel about that song and its staying power. But for me, it's cool. It's cool. I understand why it's on this album. Next up is Gauchos.
Woo!
Oh, Gauchos.
Gauchos.
Gauchos, man.
Gauchos.
Let's turn back. Let's turn back the clock, man. Uh, do you remember? Do you remember when you first heard Gauchos, bro?
Yeah, I definitely remember when I first heard Gauchos, and I think at that time, you know that on one picture I always reference of Charles where he's wearing that button-up shirt. It's the red and blue button-up shirt, and it's the
Uh-huh.
that thing. It was around that time when he was doing that interview, and he was just like letting people know like, hey, like I'm 22 now, about to be 23, and I know I'm not with Interscope anymore, and I'm trying to just rebuild myself and everything. And then there's the whole thing of like, hey, they're like, hey, Charles Hamilton's back, and he's doing everything right this time. Yeah, and he has this new song by what was it, Jim Johnson or whoever it was that produced the song. They're like, yeah, Jim Johnson, because I think he helped with Lil Wayne's Lollipop. They always said that he helped with Lil Wayne's Lollipop and did all these other songs, da, 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 whatever. So it's like, okay, Charles might have a hit. Then you hear it. I'm like, this is Gauchos.
It is Gauchos.
I'm like, all right. I was like, man, this is like I didn't know what to expect, but at the same time, I'm like, this is definitely was what I was not expecting at all. I did not expect that at all. And it could have been almost anything else, and would have been like, all right, but then it was what it was, and I'm like, bro, what? Okay, what's going on, man? What about you? Do you remember your first time listening to it?
Yeah. I remember hyping everybody. I was like, I told y'all my boy coming out with a new single. He's back. You know what I'm saying? I told you he just needed a refresh, he needed a restart or whatever. He got a new single coming out. All the iTunes, it was coming out on iTunes. So I was hyping that at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm first download, not even didn't even listen to the preview. I got it. Click that download button, bought it, download complete. I hit play, bro. I said, oh, I can never let nobody hear this.
Damn.
Because it was one of those things where that was like my later reaction. My first reaction was I said this in the Discord. I was like, I think I tried to force myself to like the song because I was like, it's Charles Hamilton. At the end, it's Charles Hamilton. I was like, I listened to it like 3, 4 times. I was like, okay, I get what he was going for. Fast forward, I didn't get what he was going for, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get it. It was remember I hate parties.
Yeah.
I hate parties probably should have been on this album more so than this song because it's this. I feel like it's the same thing that he's trying to do, where he's trying to say, "Hey, look at the style of what's hot in the streets. I'm gonna make a song that like it, but I'm gonna make fun of it, kind of." I Ate Parties, which is it was still a good song though. Gauchos was not. I can confidently say that Gauchos was a mistake.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. It's respectfully, right? Respectfully,
Yeah, for sure.
don't-
Yeah.
we don't like the song, you know. And I would say like out of all the songs that are on this album, this doesn't sound like Charles at all. Like we've heard certain songs that Charles have done, and it's like, oh well, this is him trying this and trying that, and it's like, yeah, of course, but like this doesn't sound like him at all. Like not even like a bit. And I think I remember like one of those interviews where he talked about it, and people were like, of course, what's gauchos? What are gauchos? And then he was explaining it, and it's like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, whatever. And it's like, all right, and then you hear the song, and this will be one of those situations where I could understand, when Charles will tell us, yeah, maybe you guys missed the point because this is exactly what I'm talking about. I can understand when if he was to do that with this song, right? And whoever said it in the Discord, they were like, this sounds like something, the beat sounds like something Lil Wayne would have like destroyed back in like 2010 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like something that he could have easily did something with. But it's just crazy because I don't know if you ever really pay attention to the lyrics, but like Charles is saying, Harlem on that new shit. And then the whole song is like verses 1 and 2, like he's all just like referencing like stuff from Harlem or in New York or like where he's from. And
Yeah.
he's basically being like a city guide tour. Be like, oh, watch out for this over here. Oh, come over here where we be chilling and hanging out. Or over here, this is where I buy my t-shirts at. You know what I mean? It's like one of those type of deals. And it's like it just it just didn't work. It just didn't work. That's all I could say. I'm like, I get where he was trying to go with it, and then like he wasn't trying to be too hip hop, but like I don't even know what you could call it because it's like I don't know.
I saw a comment. I went to again different upload of the song, and it was kind of a mix. There were some people again I think were trying to force themselves to like the song. There were other people saying that he sold out. Where it's like what it's like they're like, what is this? This isn't the Charles Hampton that I know. But I picked out this comment because there's something in here where I'm like, well, uh, everyone needs to chill out. He made this song as a way to make fun of club songs by rapping about absolutely nothing. I mean, listen to the lyrics. He's going on about random shit, and he pretty much saying all clubs are just a beat with a rap about pretty much nothing. And I looked at that and I said, as our critique that we say here a lot, Charles still has that issue where he does rap, but he's not really rapping about anything. I think that's what we say with like a focus or like a stick to a topic. That's what we talk about. It's like he'll have a song, the hook will say something, and then the next 2 to 3 verses will have nothing to do with the hook. And so this person, I know what they were doing as far as this song, but I would say to that person that he still kind of does that, where it's like it's hard for us to be like, what was that song about? Except for him just showing that he's able to rap and rhyme words, which he's still very good at. But it's like they both would be in the same buckets to me.
Yeah, and then not only that, it was kind of I think they probably told him, oh, make sure that you buzzwords. They probably were just like, hey, we got some buzzwords for you. Because in the first verse, he says, SpongeBob boxers, you can kiss my Squidward. I
Yeah.
think that was when I first heard that, I'm like, oh nah. I think I was already
I
like,
said, oh no. Nah.
I was like, 'cause I know what he's saying, like Squidward's nose or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, I got it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
got the yo. You don't get it because Squidward has a long nose, and also I got a. No, that's not the bro.
Bro, I know I said that to somebody and when I was trying to explain the song. I know I did. No, no, you don't get it because Squib has a big nose and he's saying that. I would if I could go back in time, I would slap the shit out of me and be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up.
Yeah, slap yourself with Squidward's nose.
Yo. Yo. But yeah, man, it's one of those things. Do you have the next song?
Over here, what I have was "Make Me Beautiful."
Yep.
Ha-ha.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to know your opinion on this because when we get to these type of records, I was like, at first I was like, oh, this was on here, and I'm like, wait, why was this on here? Because I felt like with this type of like album, I'm like, was this the right song to put on this type of album? I
Yo.
don't know, but I need to. You already know where I'm going with this. Go ahead.
I know, I know. I remember liking this song. I will say that. I was like, okay, this is he's trying again, it's very pop heavy. It's like if we go back to the time when it's recorded, I think we could find if we listen to every song that we've been to thus far, we could probably find a song out in that during that year where it's like, okay, he's trying to do this. This is what this song's supposed to be like. So we know what this song is supposed to be like, right? We don't have to say it out loud. We said it multiple episodes because he's done multiple versions of the song. I like this record. It's pretty cool. It's like it's a it's like it's a girly record, but like the one where it's like, ooh, I'm trying to stay with her. She's kind of a seductress or whatever type of situation. So it's cool. Those first two verses, I'm like, yeah. Today when I was listening to it again, that third verse came on, I said, oh shit. Dog, I was like, son of a bitch. It wasn't as bad, but it was still I was still in my mind like, yeah, this could have been a great two-verse song. We didn't need this because it's so short. You know what I'm saying? That part is so short. Like he doesn't do it again. So it's like we probably just could have took that out and it would have been fine. But overall, it's a good song. I like it. I like it.
Okay, I'm surprised, you know. But at the same time, like I said, like when we hear stuff like that from back then you hear it now, but you could definitely tell where the influence was or where Charles is going with that, you know. And you know, he sampled like that type of song before. And when I hear it, like I heard it again, because I liked it when I first heard it, but when I listen to it again, I'm like, you know what? This gives me like the calm party, kickback, smoke song, you know, because like it is kind of like I wouldn't say it's like a party song necessarily, but it's more like if you were to call it like a party song, not like it's a bunch of people, it's like a handful of people. You just play this and everybody lays back, they're vaping, they're smoking, you know, just
Yes.
trying to get the vibe right, you know what I mean?
Definitely a hookah bar type of song.
Exactly. Like that's exactly hookah bar type song. It's decent. Um, it doesn't necessarily sound like a Charles Hamilton song, quote unquote, but it sounds like something that it'd be like a contracted song where it's like, oh, you know, hey, we need you to talk about this or make this type of song or this
Yeah.
type of element. And he's like, okay. And then he was able to do that, you know. Um what you're talking about with the third verse or bridge, whatever you want to call it, the harlots want to heart me. I'm like, heart me. Oh man, that was yeah, that was something, all right. That was
It was certainly something, you know. It was certainly a thing that was done on a song.
And I think the part that kills me because like you hear the because you hear like in the background the that's him harmonizing and whatnot, then it's like oh I'm like, oh man. I was like I'm like, all right, but you know, it's a element of its time. It's element of its time where, you know, you're not thinking of stuff like that. So I get it.
It is a that music is a time capsule, and it wasn't a long era. That's the other thing. Like that era was not long. I'm just glad that eventually it just died out and was like, we have to stop doing this. At least like that. There has to be a better way to do that without doing shit like this and what Ron Browns was doing.
I, honestly, I don't think there is because you know how we talk about with hip hop, right? There's so many people, cultural appropriation. It's basically what was going on their side, where you know certain people probably would have been happy in that community, like, oh, we're finally getting some shine. But wait, are they making fun of us or?
Well, when I think of that, I'm talking more so take the J song. ROC, you don't stop. Like
Yeah,
that has that cultural sample in there, but he's not doing
yeah.
this shit.
He's doing cultural appreciation. He's
Yes.
appreciating it, not appropriating it,
Yes.
like your boy Ron, your boy. I don't know. I don't know that man.
I don't think anyone knows him anymore. Um, I
Who?
don't
Rob Browns. Who? Rob?
I don't download next, man.
So I was so confused when I seen this on there back then, and I'm like, don't download. Uh-oh. I'm like, is this something? Because in my head, I'm like, this is this something we're supposed to be getting, or this was supposed to be taken off?
Yeah.
And then someone said, hey, you took the don't download song off there, right? No, why? Well, you're not supposed to download it. So now, oops. So it's funny because I don't even call it don't download. Like I just refer to it as baby, I'm a rock star or whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. So um me listening to it now, I just realized something. And I kind of pinpointed it. You know how we always talk about mind my business, right? So
Sure.
I was going back to listening to this, I'm like, listening to the beat, I'm like, oh, this might have been the first ever like Atari beat that I always talk about with the bleeps and the bloops or
Uh,
whatever. But it's not as crazy as like when Charles has started doing it later on, especially in that like sometimes 2012, 2013 era, then further on the 15, 16 era. But
mhm.
then I was listening to him, like, yeah, this, but I think it works with this song because like it was just him trying to, they're trying to do like the pop rap thing again, but it's like, you know what always works with like pop music? Video game sounds,
Yep.
even if it's not about like a video game, anything.
Hmm.
And also the Sonic thing happens too, whatever. But it kind of feel like the song kind of has like a dream feel like to it. And like I said, I don't think it leans too much into the bleep bloop thing, whatever that he would do before. Verses are cool. Charles basically speaks on making it in the business and doing his best to stay true. I like the hook, so it's cool. Like I said, the name though don't download. So I mean, we'll get into it further on, but that's
Sure.
this my opinion on it right now. It's cool.
I was never a fan of the song. Um, it's okay. It's okay at best. I just feel like it's that pop thing, man, where it's like I know what he's going for. I know what they were going for. It's just I've heard this song done better, and or a different type of song like this done better by him. Um, and then I see this title, and the only thing I can think about is, wow, what if we just took "Don't Download" and we just put "Free Download" in here, and I'd be like, yeah, that'd be nice. The sample clearance would be crazy. You can't even play that shit on YouTube because they will come find you. Um, but
Definitely, definitely.
but free download not being on an official tape somewhere, I think is a criminal offense.
Trust me, I know. The only reason I found out, I told you about it before. The only reason I found out about free download because it was on his MySpace page. Like I randomly went on his page when I was like, "Who's Charles Hampson?" Went on there. Don't know, no name, no. I was like, okay, but this is not free download. This is don't download. And I definitely did not have the same reaction. But I was like, it's cool, it's cool. So
Yeah. After Tonight is the next record. I can say right now, this is the surprise pick of the tape for me.
all right,
I
okay,
I do like this record. Like it's of all the attempts at making a certain type of song from that era and Charles doing this pop thing, I think this one could have worked a lot. I like it. It's a different pace for him. It's a different flow, like and kind of like song structure as far as like how the flow and how the hook go into each other. But I think he does a really good job of this. I don't know if he liked making the song, 'cause I know Charles has a certain thing about like not wanting to make these type of records, but I will say that when he wants to and when he wants to try and when he puts forth a huge effort in this type of stuff, he does stuff like this and knocks it out the park. I really like that record. I don't remember it as much, but I'm definitely saving it. It's a good record.
so I can't even say that this is my surprise pick because this is my favorite off the tape. This song actually got leaked at one point on YouTube because that's how I found out about the song, not even from this project. Because I just remember like just when you could go on YouTube and just search Charles Hamilton, then you just scroll on like the recommended side, and then you see like, wait a minute, what's this? And you don't know
Right.
if it's an actual song or someone just took his vocals from one song and put it on like their own beat or something like that, whatever. But it's like after tonight leaked something something or whatever. I'm like, what is this? And then I was like so confused at first because I'm like, this ain't like rap at all. But then I was jamming out to it. I'm like, damn. Um, for me, I'm going to say this is like the most commercial pop song on the tape. And like you said, like this I think this could have easily worked. This could have been like the single. If we weren't going with All Alone, I would have said this would have been the single to go with.
Yep.
Maybe All Alone should have been second, but um it sounds like they were aiming for like top 40 pop and nothing else, no
Yep.
one else, and just no, we're going directly for pop, and that's it. Don't even stop by, don't even kind of do like a no. No,
Yep.
not even close. Um, I could see some of the hardcore like rap Charles Hamilton fans not liking this, and I get it because they could be just like, yo, I just like rap and rap only. But
Yep.
nah, I think this song, I really like it. The verses are simple and it's expected for a song like this because it's just like it's not supposed to be like really crazy. It's supposed to be really catchy, and it has in the background of the song you hear like little claps, especially where the hook is, and like it's supposed to make you stomp your feet and dance and all of that. I like that. Like I said, the hook's catchy, and I like the play on words where he's talking about coffee and waking up, and his girl's supposed to be like his coffee. And this is definitely a song I would have had as like an alarm clock to wake me up,
Hmm.
and or for me to like start my day where like I would have to wake up at like 6, and I'm like I gotta be at work at 7. I'd be playing that just to be like, here we go to get me on the hustle and bustle. I said very MTV coded, and I like the singing. Like I know we harp on Charles's singing sometimes, but like for the singing on here, he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
7 a.m. and not sleeping again until 7 a.m. 7 a.m. 7 a.m. 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Baby, don't you know that you my morning cup of coffee, morning cup of coffee, morning cup of...
Surprise pick, best song on the tape. I'm not arguing either one of those. I like both of those as a choice for sure. Um, I thought I was bugging for a second when I heard this next song, "Marketing," and I said, "I know I just heard this. I know I did." Um, but obviously you can go further into it about what we actually heard.
So it's funny because on YouTube, on YouTube, how they have it, they have don't download, and then they have marketing right after.
Mm,
And I think it's even worse when you do it that way because let's say, for example, you didn't like don't download, or you're like, just whatever, it's just then it goes right into it. And then you hear it again, you're like, is this the extended version? How long is this song? We're on a new song?
mm,
It's like, bro, what are you? So when I heard it, I'm like you just said, I just heard this. I literally just heard this. And then you hear Charles come in, same verses, and I'm just like, but then he has like more energy. I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. But this song sounds more like I guess you could say like a finished version of
mm.
marketing or don't download, whatever you want to call it, or baby I'm a rock star. But it has more of the pop and rock elements. So like I said, the verses are the same. I had to keep listening to it. I'm like, the verses are the exact same. And the energy is just like, he has more vocal inflection. And then I was like, you know what? I get it. The first version might have been like a draft where this is what he did. And they're like, this is cool,
Hmm.
but let's switch this up. And can you give us more, energy in the song? More like, and then I guess they wanted different options. And then when they heard the second version, like, oh, we're keeping that one, get rid of that other one. And for some reason, they didn't get rid of the other one. So I'm assuming that's what happened. And I'm like, damn. Well, I guess, like I said, they really want to go into a different market because with this version, they didn't have three verses. They had two verses, and then they did like a little hook that was not in the first one.
Hmm.
But overall, it's cool. I feel kind of similar about both of them. I think for me, I like the first one better, the don't download better, because it sounds more like Charles. Like he sounded more like he sounded like he actually liked that version.
Yeah.
This version, it sounded a little bit more forced because like he didn't really sound like he wanted to rap it that way. And they kind of said, "Oh, we need more energy." But overall, this probably would have been the better one to go with for this project. Because if I'm being like realistic, it's like go with this one because it fits more than the other one does.
Yeah, and that was my biggest takeaway is that both of these songs didn't need to be on here. For whatever reason, they got on here, but they definitely should have went with one. And this is the one to go with because it does fit the album more so than the other one does. Um, with that being said, I feel the exact same way I feel about the other with this one that I do the other one. So it's like as it's gonna affect the review because like not only did you have a song that I'm not a big fan of, but you did it twice and like didn't necessarily improve on like I mean I'm sure one is better. I'd probably say this one might be slightly better because maybe I like the beat a little bit better, but I still don't like the song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a double miss on in the same situation or whatever. So I would say just from a constructive standpoint, give it a don't download, which clearly was supposed to tell them please not this version, and they still upload it anyway. And just go with marketing because I think that fits the album a little bit better. Another infamous collab that people talked about, Hyperspeed, Charles Hamilton featuring Pharrell Williams.
I would like to say this is the elusive song that fans were like finally happy to hear. I
Mhm.
know I've posted this video a couple of times, but there's like an old video of like Pharrell in the studio with like Big Sean and they were talking. And then randomly Charles Hamilton makes an appearance.
Yeah.
And it's just like people are like, well, what year was that? I'm like, you could just look at it. And it was like Big Sean wasn't even like out like that yet. You know what I mean? And Charles still had some buzz around his name, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where we heard Charles talk about, yo, I've worked with Pharrell in the studio, I worked with Kanye in the studio, I worked with Eminem in the studio, I've been around these people, I've done music with such and such, so and so.
Mhm.
So, and you know, for the longest time, we were like, oh, well, where's that song with Eminem? We finally got I Don't Care years later. And
Yep.
then, you know, we were still wondering, okay, well, where's the song with Pharrell? And then we finally get to hear it. This song, I want to say, also got leaked before actually My Heart did. And then when we finally got it, people, it was kind of confirmed, like, okay, this is a real song. And then My Heart is like a real thing for real, for real. Because
Yeah.
I remember that it was, I forget who the StarCHaser was, but there's a StarCHaser that I don't know how he got My Heart, but like he was one of the few people that got it, and he would brag about, yeah, guys, I got My Heart. I actually got it. Da, da, da. Of course, everyone was like, yeah, well, can we get it? Nah, man, I'm not supposed to send it to anybody. Then why the shut the fuck up,
Yeah. It's
man?
like why? Yeah. Shut up.
Bro, like don't tell me.
This was years before that. What's called that Kevin Garnett meme from Uncut Gems. Why you gonna give me something I can't have? Like
Yeah,
what?
like, bro, why are you talking about it out loud to everyone? Like,
Yeah.
dude was in the Facebook group and all that. Oh, I got My Heart, guys, and I'm listening to it. It's so great. And don't be bragging about stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
If you know that you can't put it out, and respectfully, you didn't, but at the same time, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Um, but yeah, with this song, I would say song feels perfect. You know, it has that NERD feel, and Charles he sounds right at home with the sound because like it has the rapping in there, it has that pop feel to it, but it doesn't feel forced like maybe some other songs might have.
Mhm.
Um, for all you know, you hear the classic four beat thing that
Mhm.
he does, whatever in the beginning. You know,
Mhm.
he's not with the beat. Hook has a fun feel to it versus or a good mix of like rap, punk, rock, or not rock, but pop. You know, but like it works. I remember just hearing it. I'm like, damn, if we would have gotten this when it came out, man, who knows? You know, of course, I want to say Vision made a video for it, but it's one of those things where eventually people got to still listen to it, but it was one of those what could have been. It's like
Yeah.
damn, and like, but yeah, it's a good song. It's a really good song.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much a classic NERD early Pharrell record, just with Charles Hamilton, right? Um, Still very pop forward, but Charles's version of that pop forward, right? Because you get like a different combination of elements or whatever. Um, yeah, I think that yeah, it's a what if situation because like if we're talking about just some of the songs that we talk after tonight, all alone, this record, if put out during the time that it was put out, and with Charles still having somewhat of a decent sense of a buzz or whatever, you add in Pharrell with next to his name, there's a shot this hits the billboard, right? If done correctly. And what would that do to his career? Like, how would that have adjusted how the path went or whatever? So it's definitely a what if. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say like it's one of his best songs or anything like that. But if we're talking just like a a career difference maker or something that could have changed the trajectory of his career, it's high up there on that list.
Like I always tell people, like sometimes you don't always need to hit like a quote unquote home run. Like
Mm,
you might just need to hit like a line drive just to get on the base to get someone else home,
yeah,
and then you know you have that momentum. Then you can then that person gets the other person home. You know, so like definitely not like the greatest song in his catalog, but it's definitely one of those memorable ones. And I'm like, and sometimes I think we talked about it before. Sometimes simple is better. Some you don't have to. It doesn't have to be this monumental, grandiose thing. It's like nah, just it's a really good song. did his job.
Yeah. We can quickly go about this one. Shining Shadows. It's a great song. So that's why when I said that After This Night has to be the surprise pick, because Shining Shadows is a fantastic song, and we've already talked about it. So
Yeah, on Atlantis and A, great song. And I was noticing that I'm like, yo, what's up with Atlantis and A? And then this and some of these songs, repeating because
yeah.
that tape was supposed to be like 08, 09, 2010 songs, but
Yep.
yeah, good song though.
When I Rap is the penultimate song.
Once again, I've always liked the song. Also on Atlantis and A, because I'm
Yep.
like, bro, there's like 3 songs on here that are from like that. So, um, I don't think this song was supposed to be on here at all.
Thank you.
It doesn't sound like it's supposed to be on here at all. Unless this was going to be like a bonus cut or a pre-order add-on, like if they were to
Mhm.
figure everything else out and they're like, you know what? Just because you guys, have been showing support, if you pre-order this or you download this early before, you get a bonus song on here. I
Mhm.
like I said, I always like the song, whatever, but that doesn't really feel like it's supposed to be on there. Like I said, this song, Shining Shadows, and I always think of Atlantis and A, and it's one of those things where I'm like, if I want to listen to those, I more likely I would just go to an Atlantis and A and
Yeah.
listen to that.
Yeah. It just feels misplaced. It's like, even just the title, When I Rap, it's like, yeah, but to be respectful, a lot of this is pop. This whole album is pop. So it's like, the title would make sense. So when I rap, this is what I do. This isn't what I'm doing this tape, but just to remind you of what I do, it's here or whatever. So yeah, it's just,
110%.
yeah,
110%. Oh, also on Atlantis and A, this is called something different. It's called There's Nothing Like It. And
yeah,
then this is called When I Rap. I'm like, makes sense because the sample, when I rap, when I rap, but like, I don't know if maybe there's another song that was supposed to be called There's Nothing Like It, and we didn't get that. Because, we talked about that before on certain projects. Oh, I got the names and songs mixed up. So
yeah,
this was actually supposed to be this. And then we never got this, like, whatever tape it was that had Shining Shadows on it. And it wasn't
mhm,
Shining Shadows, it was something else. So,
yeah. But yeah, it's a good exercise in Charles rapping. Wasn't my favorite song, but again, my major gripe is just it doesn't fit this album of what they're trying to do. So, and now, and
ooh,
now.
let's get it.
What I've kind of been waiting for, man. Uh, the final song on this tape is Choices, Away for Alex. We have done a bunch of episodes, and we've not really got a chance to talk about this song in full, the full scope of this song and everything behind it. And I'm gonna toss it to the historian of this podcast, Mike, and then we are finally gonna be able to address this song for what it is. So, Mike, the floor is yours, sir.
Gotcha. All right, so before I actually continue, would we like to just talk about the background of the story, then tell our opinions on it, and then kind of like all
Yep.
right, cool, that works. All right, so Choices, Away for Alex, very popular song in Charles Hamilton's catalog, came out randomly in 2010 without people, I guess, knowing, because when I think we first heard it, we didn't even think, like, I don't even think about like My Heart at all. Like, I think of
Right.
Lucy that came out. So if you guys are wondering, let me get my notes out. If you're wondering why it's called Away for Alex. So here's the deal, right? So there's a kid, 17-year-old named Alex. I apologize if I get his name wrong. Capoza. Um, he was killed in a drunk driving accident, and they said that basically Charles wanted to make a song in dedication for him. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think like if people remember, they would see a picture of a kid like in the water, surfing or something like that, whatever. So it's kind of like that's just one of the things he liked to do. But unfortunately, he like I said, and the one thing that's wild, because not only Alex, but there's a bunch of people around that time in that area. I think of like San Diego or something like that.
Yeah.
Multiple accidents, car crashes, drunk
Yep.
driving in that situation. I mean, y'all already know, but we'll say, please don't drink and drive. Please be careful. That whole deal. So Charles wanted to, make a song and dedicating it to him and everything. I want to preface this real quick because I seen this on here. I don't know if it's correct or not, but this is on Genius. If you go on there, also I would make sure I tell people, when you listen to the song, if you never listen to it, look up Genius, look up the lyrics, read along with it when you hear the
Yeah.
song. But there's this little part on here that says when Charles' life and career started falling short, after his last official blog post, he was going through hard times. him and his uncle Jeff moved in with a family in Southern California, and while he got his head on straight, the family became like a second family. So I guess they're talking about, Alex's family in my head. In my head, I'm like, I don't know how accurate that is.
Hmm.
But um Charles did have this posted on his blog, and luckily someone saved this. This is what Charles said about the song. Choice is a way for Alex served as a reminder of how precious and short our existence is and how our fate can be altered by the choices we make. I swear I could feel Alex as I wrote the song, guiding me through his last moments as if they were my own. Alex paid dearly for the choice of getting in the car with a drunk driver at the wheel. Without the intervention of some, sorry, without the intervention of some very supportive people. I was on the path of a similar destiny. It's hard to think about my own bad choices and substance abuse days, and this reminds me of how grateful I am to be surrounded by people, including your family, who cared enough to get me back on track. Although I have never had the opportunity to meet your brother, your family has become a part of my extended family, and this tragedy has a profound effect on me. Heartfelt prayers go out to you. The song is dedicated to Alex. I can only hope that this serves as a reminder that we should all make wise choices, listen carefully to the lyrics of the song. Peace. Charles Hamilton. So very, very beautiful, touching words. So that's kind of the background of the story of this song. If you guys didn't know that, now you know. So yeah.
Yeah. It is a very sad story, and like, if you ever wonder, because sometimes people will make a song and it's like, damn, this song feels real, but is it really based on a real story? If you look up Alex and his name or whatever, the news article will show up of the incident or whatever. So this is a true story being told as far as at least that portion of the event or whatever. So just to be able to create a song like that of this magnitude, um, with that level of detail and just some of the different elements of the song, Charles should be commended for that. I think it's a testament to his abilities to take a situation and then make your art out of it. So I do want to give him praise for that for sure.
Definitely. I'll be honest, like when the song first came out and I heard it, never was really a big fan of the song. It's very emotional. You can hear and feel the emotion in the song. And it's one of those things where like you kind of like hear what Charles has been going through in his whole life and a lot of drama he had, and kind of like he kind of like weaved it into like his own situation of like, I know how it feels to go through so much and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like, man, like I said, it's a touching song. I know still to this day I don't necessarily hate it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not in love with it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do respect the song. I do believe it's a really good song. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's not really like in my alleyway, but it's one of those things where like you could just hear it and you can't just be like, oh, this is fucking whack. This is garbage.
Right.
This it's like, nah, man. It's a really touching song.
Yeah. Super emotional. I think a lot of people, if you go in the comments of anywhere this is uploaded at, you'll hear people say, yo, this song saved my life. This song helped me get through certain moments. I was grieving somebody. Like, this song means a lot to a lot of StarCHasers. So I just, that's the importance of this song. Like, it does something to people. It has a certain nostalgia and impact on people who listen to the song. Just even this, the point of the song is just make better choices or make responsible choices. And just that first verse where it's like, you know, rebel or pacifist, better or average, never a have to, forever a pass to. Just choices you have to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, that point of the song really hits home, and I do appreciate that part.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, a real emotional song. And like I said, I was like getting a little choked up because I was reading some people's comments from back then, just oh yeah, my dad died, my mom passed away, my brother, my sister. So like so many people being able to relate to the song. It's like, man, just and the hook's very powerful as well.
A few moments later.
Now that we got that out the way, respectfully,
Uh-huh.
are you ready?
I am prepared, sir.
Okay. All right. So we talked about the song and how well it's done and how people relate to it. There is some drama behind the song as well. And this was in the StarCHaser Central group on Facebook back in 2011, October 21st. So Obviously, a lot of the stuff we don't have anymore because Charles has deleted old blogs and whatnot. So
Mhm.
he kind of told you how he felt about the song and what made him like write the song. Charles had another blog post. So Charles said, I do not like the song Choices Away for Alex because the backstory isn't true. I simply tried to appease people who felt my musical content needed to be more universal. So I put false emotions behind a song I don't care about. The sample was from a record I created along with God, and quite frankly, no one listens to it. So I'm going to say this right now because there was a lot of backlash for Charles saying that, right? Simply Charles saying, putting false emotions behind the song he didn't care about and no one listens to it. Neither of those are true. Just look it up on YouTube. There's like 100,000 plus people that relate to the song, love the song, feel a certain way about it. Um, Feeling now the part where he's like, people thought my music needed to be more universal. That probably could have been like the record label and whatnot. Just of course, because with this whole album, but uh yeah, this was definitely like a miss in Charles's direction with him saying that. I don't know what made him say that. We think, especially at that time in 2011, Charles was like, getting out of jail, dealing with the
Yeah.
drama, all that type of stuff, whatever. So it's like, yeah. And we've seen it happen a lot in Charles' career, especially back then, like where Charles will probably say stuff that maybe he doesn't mean, but he's in like self-destruct mode where it's like, you know what? What's probably the worst thing I could say
Hmm.
that would get people to just leave me the fuck alone? If y'all don't like me, fuck it. Don't listen to my music. Don't listen. Leave me alone. Fuck you, fuck the fans, fuck this, fuck that. And it's just like it comes to a point where it's just like, this isn't true, this isn't real. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. And then it's like, if you really wanted people to not listen, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Of course, you could be angry and upset, but that just wasn't the move. I can easily say that wasn't cool. But obviously, people still listen to the song, they still feel a certain way about this or whatever. And obviously, like we said before, with Alex, that's a real situation that happened. So, and you can't tell me, listen, like I said, listen to the song, look at the lyrics. You can't tell me Charles like, yeah, I just fucking faked that. And just, I didn't feel anything from it. I just did that just offhand. Yeah, just light work. No, bro. He definitely felt something right in that song. So,
Yeah, I think that moment kind of fucked up the song for me, like pretty much forever for me. I know with a lot of people, and I appreciate everybody that's able to reverse. I don't know how many people know about that portion that we just spoke about, right? I don't know how many people know that he said that afterwards. Um, I don't know if that would change anything for people. I appreciate people who know about that and are like, you know what? Even though he says that song still does, it still had means something to me and it still holds weight and I still use this song when I'm going through grief. I think that's super important and I think that's super dope. I appreciate that. I'm not able to do that because it's like I don't know. It was callousness behind it. It just didn't feel right. Like you could be mad about something. 2011, you're going through a very tough time. I get that. I understand that. Uh, you're making music at this time that maybe people aren't receptive to. And maybe this is the song that people keep bringing up. Wow, you should make some more stuff like choices, choices, choices. Maybe it gets old after a while. I don't think saying like, it meant nothing to me. It was a fake backstory. Now I do believe that backstory is fake that he was with the family or whatever that I'm sure I'll believe that's fake. I believe that didn't happen or whatever. But the actual event happened. You took that event and you still made something that's emotional. What's called now it means nothing because you're mad at whatever, right? I think that's poor in taste. That's poor in taste. Um, and yeah, so I've never first off I've never like the biggest fan of the song like you. Similar things. It's just not my vibe. But the lyrics were very important. The impact of it was very important, and I love that part of it. But that took it away from me altogether. I never really listened to that song ever.
yeah, like I said, I was never the biggest fan. And then like, just seeing stuff like that, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like there's a handful of stories like that I hate reporting on, but we have to talk about everything here. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, like why did he do this? You know, like I said, a lot of times it had to do with, oh, he was mad, he was upset. Like, oh, you know, stop asking me to do songs from 2008. Stop asking me to do songs from 2009. Stop asking for a lava lamp. Stop asking for, and I think most of the time it's not even that. It's like I said, it's not that people are asking for that back then, yes, because
Yeah.
from 2008 to like 2012, whatever, yeah, like that, there's only like 4 year period of people knowing your music. So, but more of it is just like they just want music like that, like with substance, like music that feels real, that
Yeah.
like you're not just rapping just to rap, like you're actually like having content and whatever. And of course, Charles has said this recently, like, you know, they had a someone that was like complaining about the music not being how it used to be. And it's just like he said, you know, the content's there, the music there, the bars are there and whatnot. It's like if they are, if I'm comparing this current stuff to like this emotional stuff that made me feel something, that made me cry, made me laugh, made me smile, it's not there as much, or it's not, it's not, I can't see it, or we can't hear it, you know. So it's
Mhm.
not just, oh, it's just me and Stick because we have a podcast talking about it. It's like, no, it's other people saying that too, you know. But regardless, it's a really beautiful song. Unfortunately kind of like scarred because of Charles's, I guess, carelessness, because he decided, you know what, fuck everybody. If you don't like the new shit, well, fuck it. You can't like the old shit either, I guess. So
Leave me, but your choice, miss. You know where my void is, and the voices can't even tell you where the voice is. If I die tonight, where will you be? With a tear in my eye, what will you see? You don't know the sadness of a joker. You don't know the sadness of a joker.
Yeah, I think if you just take a step back and just kind of remove ourselves from that portion of our feelings toward the song, I think it's smart to put it on the tape, especially at the time. Let's say this album does come, it was supposed to come out and does come out. The popularity of that song would have carried this pretty heavy. It's a great outro of a song, just a dedication, like kind of a dedication. Again, you just replace Alex with whoever you have this feeling towards, and now that song's personal to you. I think it would have been a great fit on this album, a great closer on this album, and just I think would have helped. Maybe we could have even done like a video, depending on how what the budget looked like and what you call it. Maybe get in touch with the family and try to do something like that. Would have been cool to do something at the beach with it. You know what I'm saying? It would have been. There were a lot of things that could have been done for that song, and that would have fit with the album. So I will say add that portion to it.
agree, totally agree.
Um, before we head out, man, do you have anything else? Is there anything you want to talk about as far as like this album, like what ifs, or can we just like encompass that in our review as well?
Only other thing I could say is that shout out to there I seen some reviews on this album recently. One
Okay.
that was done July 30th of this year. And
Oh,
it's one of the star chasers in the Discord. They said this is simply amazing, so poppy. I feel like this should have been the tape that was released when he got re-signed to Republic. Probably would be hard to clear the Pharrell producer credit though. Still very experimental, very different from a lot of Charles's work. This is really good pop music, good hip hop. This is Charles Hampton playing the mainstream game.
I mean, listen, they're not wrong in a sense. Like it's definitely him playing the game. Um,
Triple
how
H,
people, huh? Triple H.
Triple H.
Yeah. Spit before you enter the ring. Uh, he does spit before you enter the ring. Never swallows. Um, are you ready for the review, man? I'm tired. I'm
Man,
sorry.
you got those dentist bars, you know what I mean?
Hey,
Just
man, listen, white broccoli. We just listened to My Heart for the first time in 2025, and we're gonna do our thing. What do I normally say? The character reviews, pros and cons. You know the drill, Mike. Let's. The rails are falling off anyway. You know what that means.
we about to do our thing. Oh my God. All right, man. So I can easily say this. This is a good project. I think the unfortunate thing is this suffers from a lot of repeating songs from other projects and duplicates, that whole deal. You know what I mean? Because we talked about, oh, there's 12 songs, but if we're talking about marketing and don't download or whatever, that you could kind of take one of those off there. We got other songs that have been on other projects that we kind of look at those like. So it's like there's really more like 8 songs or something like that, maybe 8, 9 songs, you could technically say, you know. Um, I would say this, if we could even shorten this even more to maybe like 5 to 6 songs, so it's really just like pop focus, super pop rock focus or whatever. I think this possibly could have got like a supersonic. I think this could have got a supersonic, like if it was just really focused on like the pop element and just like not having the songs that were on other projects. But for what it is, I still like it. It's crazy because this is like, so this Perfect Light got shelved. My Heart got shelved. And then, we finally got Hamilton Charles later on. And Hamilton Charles is actually like the most hip hop. Like, if you look at it, because even This Perfect Life had more of that like poppy feel to it. But this is like just straight pop, you know what I mean? Shout out to NSYNC, you feel me? Oh, but
Dirty
it,
Pop.
yeah, but it's overall, I would say I still like this project. I still like this album. Um, I'm gonna give it a tails. I still think it's somewhat underrated. It doesn't really get uh too much talk about from like maybe like the common Charles Hamilton fans and Star Chasers. I think the underground ones and the OGs will talk about it, but I still feel like I would love to see people talk about this more. So I'm gonna give it a tail, say it's still underrated in some terms, just because we don't get this is our only chance of us actually getting a pop Charles Hamilton album, I guess you could say. So, but if we were able to get like a real one, you know what I mean, it definitely would have been interesting to see, because this, like I said, this got shelved. This wasn't even supposed to come out technically, but for what we got, it's cool. But I know it could have been better. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting because, like, I know people say a lot of times, um, Charles could have made hits. Charles could have been on the charts if if he did certain different things or whatever. A lot of us just point to like other albums like Pink Lava Lamp or other stuff. Substance Abuse is another one that has some stuff where it's like you throw that on there, it's probably a hit or whatever. Um, I think a lot of other casual people like, oh no, he could have did the pop thing, and this is the example of what that would sound like. And I don't know, it feels odd. I'm like you, where if we carve this up, take some songs off, maybe add a song or two, um, this probably plays better. I think stuff like, don't download marketing being a double up, I think that's a mistake. Um, I think When I Rap and Shine in Shadows don't really fit the album. So that's another couple that's like, eh. I think if you take stuff like Hyperspeed, After Tonight, Make Me Beautiful, All Alone, Second Music, I think if you do that and that's the album, maybe add like a couple more songs, we can find pop songs on other tapes that he's done. Since adding songs from other tapes doesn't seem to be an issue, we could find two other ones to add there. And this album, I think, is fantastic, right? Um, but there's stuff like Gauchos here and just songs that I'm just like, ugh. And like I said, choices are still kind of ruined for me. For me, I'm gonna go Knuckles because although I do like some things on here, like All Alone and After the Night and stuff like that, it's too inconsistent for me as far as I guess what I like from Charles as far as his music. Doesn't mean a lot of these songs are bad. I don't think I've really said Gauchos is the only bad song that's on here. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't, the flow isn't right, and it just doesn't. It feels too forced pop versus something like Tattoo, which is also kind of pop heavy a little bit with stuff. But I like a lot of those records more. Like there's a lot more dance records, like Stones on the Dance Floor. Uh, this I'm losing the song, but there's like that 3 song stretch with a bunch of dance songs. So I'm gonna go Knuckles. It's a song. It's a tape that people should go listen to. But I would say take your time and just be prepared for maybe some inconsistencies as far as what you're used to.
Makes sense. Real quick, something I thought of. You know how people have always compared like Charles to like Cuddy, because like Cuddy would do like the pop rock thing or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, Charles never got to blow up how he's supposed to, but Cuddy did, and he's still in the business doing whatever. I think a better comparison would have been B.O.B. And the reason I'm saying
Mm.
that, because B.O.B. with him doing his rap thing, And then eventually at a certain point, B.O.B. kind of got caught into I would say like that's what Charles Hampton would have like ended up like B.O.B. because at one point I remember B.O.B. was doing like the rap stuff, but then the pop songs took off. If I
Yep.
remember, he had a song with Taylor Swift back then before Taylor like really, really blew up when she was still kind of like country popish or
Mhm.
whatever. And it's one of those things where he dealt with that, where it's like, oh, nah, I don't want to like be super pop. And then the airplanes came out eventually, and then that blew up. And then it's like, yeah, buddy, you're just gonna be pop now. And he's like, no. Then he came out with that like rap album. I think it was like Underground Luxury or something like that. And then people were like, oh, nah, because now you're trying to be rap. And no, we don't want that now. So, and I think that could have been the trajectory that Charles would have went through. And maybe he saw that early and was like, nah, I don't even want, even though that didn't happen to him yet, but he's probably like, I don't want to end up like that. You know what I mean? So, but I think that would be like a fair comparison of like what his career could have been like, because it could have been like, all right, well, now we're just doing pop and rock and that's it. We'll let you rap like once or twice, but other than that, nah, no more rap for you, buddy. And we know how Charles is when you tell him what to do. He's not gonna like it.
Yeah. Shout out to Paperboy. What was the other song they had together? Is it
I think
Do
it's
for Love? What was it called?
Fall in Love or something like that.
Yeah, Do for Love, Fall in Love, something like that. Shout out to those two records. But let us know what you think about My Heart, man. Would that be an album that you would have quickly purchased? Would you have regretted your purchase? Would you have been like, this is a classic? Let us know over on StarCHaser Central. You can also follow us on Twitter, StarCH Central. You can follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54, STIK Around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, and Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson. That's Mike D Jackson. That's one D, two E's. Holla at me. Make sure you guys follow Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you're subscribed to him on his YouTube channel, The Talented Mr. Hamilton. If you haven't seen some of his recent updates, Charles did say that he's trying to make sure that his internet is stable, because I know he didn't have a live last week, but he's like trying to figure that situation out. So until then, the lives might be on hold, but you never know when he's going to get that situated and back up. So still subscribe to him, hit the bell or whatever, so you can stay updated with him with that. And then last but not least, like I said, if you're not seeing him on live, he's probably blogging. He's been doing a lot of blogging recently too.
Yeah.
So make sure you're checking out the blog at enterthehamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Yes, we had a great time today, reviewing this tape. I think we have maybe one real album left that we need to do. And then at that time, I want to rank all the albums, quote unquote albums that Charles has had, yada yada, whatever. I think that would be a good way to, get an idea of how we feel about certain tapes or whatever. Um, as far as that goes, we're closing on episode 100. So be on the lookout for that. We're really excited about that. Um, and other than that, man, just great episode again as always, man. Mike, you have anything for the people we head out?
Just the usual. Thank you guys for checking out another episode. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for, also just keeping in tune with us and giving us ideas for what to do. Like Stick said, we're close to episode 100. So, we're trying to, keep some surprises going, try to give you guys something really, really nice to watch and listen to. So stay tuned.
Yeah, man. We are now logging out of the Star Trek Central podcast. We always encourage you to follow your dreams
And reach for the stars.